In this video, we're gonna see how to create our own online Python IDE and we can run all the Python scripts in the browser itself. So instead of going to the third party, you can run all the Python scripts in the browser itself. You consider this the online IDE that we're gonna build in this video, and it is hosted on this website ide.interneq.live, and you can run all the Python scripts here. For example, print of hello world, and this is our Python script, and when we click on run, you consider we got the output hello world. So instead of going to the third party, so there are lots of third-party websites available out there for Python IDE. So if you open up a new tab and type Python online compiler, consider there are lots of websites available. If you pick any one of them, so all the features available in this third parties will also be available in the projects that we're gonna create in this video. For example, here in this third-party online compiler, when we type import, we have the auto completion. Here in this project also we have the auto completion. So yeah, so this is the project that we're gonna create in this video, and all the models available in the Python will also be available in this IDE as well. You consider import OS and we can print the OS as well. All the libraries will be available in this Python online IDE. Consider when we print the OS, you consider module OS. So let us see how to create this Python online IDE, and all the functionalities will be work. For example, for I in range of 10, and we can print the I. You can see that all the Python scripts will be run in this online IDE. So let's get started now. To create this online Python IDE, we're gonna use a tool called the Flask. So in this video, we're gonna specifically focus on the Python and have integrated the C and C++ in this IDE, but we're gonna see how to create the Python IDE in this video. I have a project folder here. Consider in this Visual Studio Code, I have opened up the project folder. Let's create a Python script now, app.py. And for this video, we're gonna use the Flask to create the online IDE. So let's import the dependencies that we need for this project. So pip install Flask. So this is the only requirement that we need for this project. All else will be we will be using the built-in dependencies. So I consider requirement already satisfied. Let me close that. And let's import the libraries that we have installed now. So from Flask, we're gonna import the Flask class, and we also need the render template, and we need the request library, and we need the JSONify. So that's it. And finally, we need the subprocess. So import subprocess. We need the OS library, and we need the temp file because you want to store the code in a temporary file, right? That's why we need the temp file. And finally, let's define our Flask app now. So app equal to Flask. Inside this spawns the special variable __ name __. Now to run the Python script, that is the Flask server. If name equal to main, then we're gonna start our Flask server now. So app.run, this will start the Flask server, and we're gonna set the debug equal to true. So this will make sure that all the errors will be shown in the website itself. So when we click on run, consider the Flask server has been started. Just click on this URL. You consider when we open up the URL, we don't have anything. So when we go to the home page, we don't have anything. So let's try to define a route now. That is the route. So app.route. So we're gonna define the form route, and inside this we're gonna create a function. So def form. So whenever we visit the form route, we will return something. So you can return anything. InterNeq IDE. So when we click on save button and let's go to the browser and refresh, you can see that we got a message like InterNeq IDE. Not only you can return text, you can also return the HTML tags also. So I'm gonna wrap this inside the h1 tag. So let's also finish the h1 tag now. So this will be h1 tag. So let's save this and let's try to go to the browser and click on refresh. You consider it displays the InterNeq IDE in h1 format. So instead of returning these tags, we can return a HTML file itself. So that's why we have imported the render template. So to import that, so return render template. So we're gonna return the index.html. So we're gonna create this file now, index.html. To create that, just create a new folder called the templates. Folder name should be like this, templates only. Then only it will work, otherwise it won't work. So make sure you type the folder name as templates. So inside these templates, we need the index.html file. So for the index.html file, I have a copy and paste the HTML code in my notepad. So I will give the code in the description. You can check that out. So let me copy and paste the HTML code in the index.html file. So let me paste it here. So this is the index.html code that I have copy and paste. So I will provide the link of this code in the description. You can check that. So let's save it now. You consider in this index.html, we have used a lots of code there. Let's also save the app.py file, then only it will reload. and let's go to the browser and just click on refresh. You consider now we got the proper structure of the IDE, and when we click on run button, now it don't happen anything. And you consider this is the place where we type our code, and when we click on Python, we have Python, C++, C, Node.js. So in this video, since we are focusing only on the Python, what we can do is we can remove the C, C++, and Node.js. So either we can remove this or we can comment it now. So just save this and let's go to the browser and just click on this refresh button. So we got a error like comment error. So what we can do is then we can remove it now. So let me remove this. So we don't need this. So if you want to implement the other IDEs as well, you can implement that. But in this video, we're gonna specifically focus on the Python. You consider now we only have the Python, and for this ideally, you consider this is the ideally box where we type. What we're gonna use is the AC code editor. So if you go to the new tabs, just type AC code editor. So this is the one that we're gonna use to create our IDE. You consider build for code. It provides all the functionality like auto completion, auto tab. We consider in the original IDE.internetkit.live. You consider when we type Python, it will automatically have the auto completion as well as the auto parenthesis close. So this is what we're gonna implement. Either you can directly go to this page and copy and paste this GitHub repository and you can do all the hard stuff, but what we can do is I have created a zip file. So let me go to my documents folder. In the documents folder, you consider under the pictures I have this lim.zip file. So what we can do is let me copy that, and inside this project folder we have to create another folder. So let me go inside the project folder. So inside this we need to create another folder called the statics. So let's create a folder called static, and inside the static we will have our JSON file, that is the JS file. So JS, that is the JavaScript folder. Inside this just paste the zip file. So just paste the zip file here, and we have to extract the zip file in this folder. So just click on extract all. This will extract all the files in this folder. Now all the files has been extracted. Just give a few minutes. Now the files has been extracted. Then what we can do is, so inside this lib we have another lib. So let me move all the files to one level. You consider now when we go to the lib file, you consider we have all the JS files that is needed for the code editor. You consider we have all the files that we need. So that's it. This is the setup for the IDE code editor. Now when we go to the Visual Studio Code, you consider I have already imported all the required dependencies from the code editor. You consider the AC code editor. We have imported the, so this script is used for the Python, and above that this is the use for the C, C++, and this is used for the Python, and below that is used for the JavaScript. What we can do is we can just delete this zip file. We don't need that anymore. And when you go to the browser now, consider in the index.html we have used the, so let's go to the browser now. You consider when we refresh, nothing happens because we have to make the editor visible. So to do that, we're gonna use this JS now. So let me close this. So we have to use the JS to make the editor visible. So in the JS folder, just create a new file called the ide.js. So this is our JavaScript file to make the editor visible. And let's go to the Visual Studio Code now. So here we have the ide.js file. Here we need to type, consider here in the index.html file we have the editor, right? So we have to make this editor visible, and we can set all the optional parameters like the autocomplete, all the stuff. So let's do that now. So we're gonna select the editor. So let editor and window.on reload. So whenever the window reloads, we have to make the editor visible. So window.on load, we're gonna create a function. So function inside this, what we have to do is we have to make the editor. So editor equal to AC.editor. So AC.editor. Actually this is AC.edit. Inside this they have to provide the path where the editor is located. So just select editor, that's it. So editor equal to AC.edit editor. So editor dot set theme. So we can also set the theme now. So the theme we're gonna choose in this is the Monokai. So editor dot set theme. The theme is AC/theme/Monokai. So this is the theme that we're gonna apply to our code editor. So this will be Monokai. And once we have set the theme, then we can also set the editor dot session dot set mode. So we can set the mode, like since the AC editor will be provide all the auto completions for C, C++, Python, but in this video we are gonna set the mode to Python. So editor the session the set mode, we're gonna set this to Python. So AC/mode/Python. So now we're gonna make the editor to Python. If you want a C++, you can change this to C++ or C. So we're gonna set this to Python. Now the editing code editor will be set to Python mode. Then below that we're gonna enable the auto completions. So we're gonna enable the auto completion. So let me make a comments now. Enable auto completion. So AC the require. So we have to require the language tools. So AC /external /language tools. So we're gonna import these language tools. And below that, what we can do is we can enable the auto completions and all the options that we need for the code editor. So editor dot set options. So inside the set options, we can pass all the parameters that we need. So the first parameter is the enable auto completions. So make the enable auto completions to true. Enable basic auto completions. I'm gonna set this to true. So don't worry, I will provide all the code in the description. You can check that. So if you want to implement this, you can just copy and paste there. So enable snippers. I'm gonna enable the statements to true. So once we have enabled the snippets, we can also enable the live. Enable live auto complete. Let's also enable to true. Enable live auto complete to true, and we can also set the font size to. So the font size is 14 pixel, and we can also set the tab size. Tab size. So I'm gonna set this to 4 now, and use soft tabs. I'm gonna set this to true as well. So that's it. So this will make sure that the code editor is visible and we can type whatever we want in the code editor. So just save this and let's go to the browser and just click on the refresh. You consider now the code editor is visible and this code editor is set to Python. You consider print hello world, and when we click on this run button, nothing happens because when we click on the run button, we have to set the functionality. So currently the run functionality is not working. So now we don't need the JS file. We can close that. You consider when we click on the run button, you consider here we have to call the execute code. So I have also copy and paste the JavaScript in my notepad. Let me copy this. So this is the JavaScript that we need to make the run button workable. You consider I have used the Ajax here because we don't want to refresh the page when we click on run button. That's why I have used the Ajax here. You consider now when we click on run button, it will pass the language as well as the code to the /execute. You consider for the URL, we're gonna send all the things to this URL /execute, and we're gonna use the post method. So we have to define that method here. That is, we have to define this route as /execute, and we are sending the language. So whatever language that we pick will be sent to this. You consider in the original website I have the Python C++, but in this project I have only the Python. So we're gonna sending the language as well as the code. So whatever code that we type, we're gonna send this to Python Flask server. So let's do that now. So yeah, this is we are sending the language and code to this execute route. So let's try to cast that now. So app that route. So we're gonna create the execute route now. So /execute. So we are catching the language and code in this route. So let's create a function now. Def code editor. So make sure that we accept the post method because we are passing the data in post method. So we have to accept that. So let's try to make the route to accept the post method as well as the get method. So methods equal to this will be post method, and we're gonna also accept the get method as well. So we are accepting the two methods, post method as well as the get method, and inside this function we consider we are passing the two things, language and the code. So we have to make sure that we store this in a variable. You consider we are sending the language as well as the code. So language equal to we're gonna get the language from the request form. So requested dot form dot get, we're gonna get the language and we need to get the code, right? If you have the code only, then we can process that. So we need to get the code as well. So whatever code that we type in the code editor, we will get that. So code equal to requested dot form dot get. So we're gonna get the code. So that's it. Now we have the language and code. Then what we can do is we can create a temp file because whatever we have typed, right, we have to store this in a temporary file. So with temp file, so with temp file dot name temporary file. So name with temporary file, we can make the delete false, and we can create the extension for it. So suffix equal to, so whatever will have the language. So if it is Python, we're gonna make the suffix dot Python. So whatever the name extension will be whatever the language that we select. So dot whatever the language that we select, this will be our extension, and we're gonna open this as temp file. So now we have the temp file, right? We can put the code inside this temporary file. So the temp file dot write, we can put the code here, code dot encode. So this will make sure that we put the code file in a temporary file. So then we can get the path of the temporary file, where the file is located. Then only we can run that file, right? So temp file underscore path equal to temp file dot path. That is the name. So this will give us where the file is located. So if you have the file location, then we can simply run it. So now we have the temp file location, and inside the temp file we have the code, right? We can create the output. So output equal to, I'm gonna put this here empty string. So output equal to subprocess dot check output. Subprocess dot check output. So this will take a list now. So inside this list, the first parameter is Python. So type the Python. The second parameter is where the file is located. So the file is located at the temp file path. So this is where the file location is. So that's it. And we can, if we get any error, we can make the error visible. So str error equal to subprocess dot str out. So str error equal to subprocess dot str out, and we cannot decode it now. So that's it. Now we have the output, right? We can simply pass the output to the HTML, and so that we can visible it. So we have the output. So what we can do is we can enclose this output inside a try and except block, because if we get any error, then we can accept it. So inside this try, I'm gonna indent this, and below this I'm gonna create a except now. So except, so if we get any error, that is the process of process dot call process error. So if we get that error, then we can simply print a message like error occur, like that. So output equal to, so if we get the error, we're gonna simply set the error output to that error. So e dot output dot decode. So that's it. So if there is any error, we're gonna set the output to the error. And finally, we can delete the temporary file that we have created now. So in the finally block, we can simply remove the temp file. So why is that remove? We're gonna remove the temp file. So let's create a command now. So I'm cleaning up the temp files. So why is that remove? So just pass the temp file path. So that's it. This will delete the temporary file that we created. So that's it. So let's try to run this now. So now we have the output, right? So we have to pass the output to the index.html file, because we consider when the URL is success, you consider success. When we success, we are printing the message to the output. So the output will be visible. So consider now we are removing the temp file, we have to return the output to the HTML file. So return JSONify, we're gonna return the output simply to the index.html file. So output equal to, this will be the output. So that's it. Now we have processed the report, and we simply return the output to the index.html file, and we're gonna print the message here. And let me type the print hello world icons. So we got the error. So let me fix that error now. So let's go to the input. So I think consider we have used the temp file as a file name, because so let's rename this. The model name is also temp file. The file variable name is also temp file. That's why we got confused. And let me refresh this, the temp file here. So just click on run button. Now you consider, now we got the output like hello world. So you can run anything here. So for I in range, I'm gonna print 10. So just print the I now. So if you click on run button, you consider now we got the output 129. So now we have successfully create our own online Python IDE. So all the libraries will be available here. You consider when we import OS, you consider we don't have any error. That means the library has been successfully imported. So if you want to print the OS, so print OS, and when we click on run, you consider module is of the type OS. So let us see how to deploy this website so that we can access even in our mobile phone. So let's see how to deploy this Python IDE. So for this, what we have to do is we have to create our GitHub account now. So just go to the browser and go to the github.com. Go to the github.com. Let's create a new repository now. The repository name will be IDE Python. So this is our repository name. And let's create this repository now. And Just open up the command prompt now. So I'm gonna open up the command prompt in the project folder. Let's go to the online IDE and I'm gonna open up the command prompt. So just type the git init. This will make sure that the git is initialized, and git add. I'm gonna add all the files now, and we can leave a message like git commit -m. The message is update and press enter. All the files has been committed. Then what we have to do is we have to copy and paste these two commands. Just copy and paste these two commands, and let's go to the command prompt now and paste it here. So I'm gonna paste it here and click on enter. Now we have add our repo URL now. Then we can simply push it now. So copy this command git push -u origin main, paste it here and enter. Consider it is pushing all our project files to the GitHub repository now. When you go to the repository now and just click on the refresh button, consider now all the files has been successfully put to this repository. So the website that we're going to use in this video to deploy our project is the Vercel.com. So just open a new tab and just type Vercel.com. Just head over to this website. Consider I have already deployed two projects, auto timestamp and on internet IDE. So to make our project to deploy under Vercel, we have to create 3 more dependencies. So we can deploy our project easily on the Vercel. The first file that we have to create is the requirements.txt. So inside this file we will put all the dependencies that we need for this project. The dependencies that we need is the Flask and Gunikan only. So this dependency is enough to deploy on the Vercel. The second dependency is the Vercel.json file. I have copied and pasted the code for this Vercel.json file. I will provide the code in the description. You can check that out. So you consider this is the sample code for the Vercel.json. So inside this Vercel.json, what you have to do is, so if the file name is different, that is if the Flask name is different, consider I have name our app.py. That's why I have type this app.py here. If the file name is main.py, then you have to type the main.py here. So let's save there. Now we have to enter the requirements.txt and storage the Vercel.json. The third file we have to create is the build.sh. So inside this build.sh, we have to type these following commands: pip install -r requirements.txt, and we also need to install the build essentials. apt get install build essentials. So that's it. So now we have to push these 3 files to the GitHub now. So this will be build essentials. So make sure you type the fillings correctly. So apt install build essentials. Let's open up your command prompt one more time and just type git status. You consider the 3 files is not pushed to the GitHub, so we can push it by git add, and we can see consider all the files has been successfully added, and we can leave a message like git commit -m. This will be Vercel. So that's it, and we can also push it now. So git push origin -u main. Consider now when you go to the GitHub. So let me close this. The files has been successfully pushed. Let's go to the GitHub now, and when we click on refresh, you consider the 3 files has been successfully added here, and let's go to the Vercel and click on projects and select new. Consider this is the repo that we created now. Just click on import and just click on deploy. You don't have to do anything. The Vercel will automatically deploy using the 3 files that we created. That's it. This is the power of using Vercel. We just have to create the 3 files. The Vercel will automatically do everything for you. You don't have to do anything. Consider it starts installing the required dependencies. Now the website has been successfully deployed. Let's open this website now. You consider now we got a URL ID Python Vercel.app. So now we have successfully deployed it now. So let's type some command to see if the codes are running properly. Consider now we got the hello world. So that's it. So this is how you create our own online IDE using Python. That is the Python IDE. So if you want to get the source code for this project, just head over to my GitHub account. Just go to the repositories, and in the find repository type internet IDE. Consider this the repo. I have created this repo 1 month ago. So make sure you refer this or repository if you have any those. So this is for this video, and I will continue in the next one.